Hey, Michelle and Mr. Ollie here from Sensate Soul, as well as the Soul Translator. And I help empaths and HSPs and what I lovingly call ya, empreneurs, be who you are as someone on the HSP spectrum and be empowered as that to discover and know, be, do, and have in your life and your work as that. So today, you just got to look at this guy from my angle. Yeah, look at that love face. Today I want to talk about boundaries and shame. Touch into this briefly because it came up in a group I was in recently where somebody was speaking about how they fear having a boundary because they fear that they're then going to be shaming somebody. So this I find in my work, and I know this personally from my own processes of unfolding and getting to know myself, that this can be a really big stopgap for a lot of empaths and sensitives to having boundaries because we are... Sorry, my dog's falling off the bench. He can take care of himself. He's got 4 legs. But we can be so sensitive to shaming. The energetics of shaming is a really low vibration, and it's a shaming. If you want to know more about shame, please do look up the incredible work of Brené Brown. But a really quick synopsis of it: shame is when we learn and when we are told that there's something wrong with who we are, versus guilt is that something that we did or didn't do was wrong, or it was wrong that we didn't do it. So there's a big distinction between the two. So sensitivity shaming, saying that somebody is wrong for being so sensitive, like so many of us have heard that, oh, you're so sensitive, you take everything so personally, you're always so deep, and why can't you just be, light, and why do you always have to, be so involved with things, and I don't understand where you're coming from, this is, you don't make sense to me. There can be a lot of sensitivity shaming for HSPs and empaths. And, being told that who we are as an HSP is not acceptable, doesn't fit into the real world, isn't appropriate, is somehow inconvenient. I've had that one when I was growing up, that my sensitivity was an inconvenience because it required sometimes that I, didn't do things, and I wasn't involved in some things. And that I got really affected by things and then would have an emotional, energetic reaction, crying and withdrawing and, so many different things. So when we have a boundary, I hope you got to see his cute little mug looking up at me. I have no boundaries with him, but that's okay because we don't need them because we have a healthy relationship. Well, sometimes he gets a little boundary here and there. But when we have boundaries, I'd like to offer for you a different way to think of boundaries and thinking of them simply as self-protection. And, there are times when we need to have a boundary with ourselves because we need to protect ourselves from things that we do, say, choose, don't do, that is harmful to us. There are times when we need to have a boundary with others because what they do, say, don't do, how they treat us is harmful to our well-being. So having a boundary is about self-protection, and it is necessary, and it is essential because it keeps us safe. And safety is okay when it comes to when we possibly are going to be doing something or somebody's going to be doing something to us or against us that is going to cause harm, whether it's emotional, psychological, energetic, spiritual, physical, all of those levels. And letting go of this idea that when we have a boundary with somebody, it's because we're shaming them, we're making them wrong, or we're making them feel inadequate. You know, the truth of the matter is that sometimes what people do is wrong when it comes to protecting our well-being. Sometimes what we do to ourselves is wrong because it hurts our sense of self and our well-being. And of course, there's a massive scale of this, of, you know, there's extremes, and then there's also the subtle things. But like, if you think of self-talk, you know, we can be harming ourselves emotionally, psychologically through negative inner critic. That can be, on the mild scale, something that we listen to and then we, you know, choose to do otherwise. And then on the extreme scale, it can be something that unfortunately brings some people to the brink of despair. So using your boundaries as self-protection and letting go of any idea of having a boundary is somehow shaming another person or shaming yourself. This mentality, this mindset really needs to be released, because there are so many times when we were growing up where we didn't have the ability to have a boundary, and we weren't able to protect ourselves and felt some sort of shame because of not having be able to have a boundary, and also because of wanting to have a boundary. So please do give yourself the gift of self-protection, of self-empathy, when having a boundary, when it is necessary, and that it is not, you know, disconnect any sort of thinking that you may have or fear that you may have around having a boundary means shaming another person. You can have a boundary without, it's the train, you can have a boundary without shaming another person, absolutely. And yes, learning to have boundaries is part of our path, and it also is a skill of awareness and of courage to be able to have them, and communication. So if you would like more help with your boundaries, come on over to Sensate Soul and look to see what's available there with classes and resources to help you with that. As well as give this video a like if you did like it, thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and join us over at Sensate Soul so you can get things that I only share in private emails, and learn how to honor the boundaries with ourselves and others that is really necessary to be a happy, healthy HSP. All right, so much love. See you in the next video.